So you're doing when they give you the volume. So they said that the volume was 1. They didn't tell you what the height was, and they told you what the base and the length was. So you're going to first always write out the formula. So step 1, and you can write this on your paper. Write out formula. Step 2, plug in the numbers that they give you. And then for the one they did not give you, you can just put an X here. We don't know what the height is right now. So you can just fill it in with a placeholder like X. And then the formula says length times width times height. So you're going to do 1 equals 3 times 2 is 6. And then 4 times 3 is 12. And then you're going to do X. We don't know what that is yet. Okay, so this is connected to an X. It's algebra. So to clear this and bring it over here so we could find out what X is, which is just the height, you could say H2. It's totally fine. I'm just letting you know it's an algebra problem, so we'll just use H since it's height. To clear this number away from this letter, you're going to do the opposite. So they're doing 6/12, you're going to do 12/6. So you use what's called the reciprocal, which means the numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator. And then anything you do to the one side, you do to the other. 12 times 1 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6. So H equals 12 over 6, which equals what? 2. And then we are going to multiply this out to our original equation to see if we did it right. So 3 times 2 times 2 is what? It is 12, right? 3 times 2 is 6, times 2 is 12, and then 4 times 3 is 12. So does 12 twelfths equal 1?
Yep.
Yep. If you got something different, like suppose maybe you got 1/2, we would do, does 1/2 equal 1? Because that's the original equation, right? Length times width times height, and then we know that our volume in this one equals 1. So you can always check your answer, and if it doesn't do this, this equals this, then suppose you got this, you did something wrong, and you'd have to rework the problem. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's try another one. So we're going to do 2 equals length times width times height. And the length is going to be 5/8, and the base is going to be 3/4, and we have to find out what the height is. So that's the one we don't know. So we're going to do 2 equals 5/8 times 3/4 times H. And then we do 2 equals 15/32 H. Now to separate the number from the letter, we use the reciprocal. So we put the denominator where the numerator is and the numerator where the denominator is. And so it becomes 32 over 15 times 2 over 1. This cancels each other out. What's left on this side is H. And then what's left on this side is 64/15. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
Okay. Now we have to make this into a number that makes sense. So how many times does 15 go into 64? Well, I know 15, 30, 45, 60. 4 of them would equal 60. And then I have a remainder of 4. So I put my 4 here as the numerator, and I put my 15 as the denominator. This is totally a fine answer. It just means that it's in between 4 and 5. And this could be how, sometimes, like if dad is cutting something and he wants to fit it into, like suppose he took a strip of wood and he wanted to put it in a doorway, and your doorway was 4 feet, it wouldn't be, it could be that big, 4 feet, 4 and 15 inches, then he would cut a piece that was in between 4 feet and 5 feet. So this answer, it doesn't have to equal a whole number. It could be a mixed number or a decimal. So now we simplify it and we say h equals 4 and 4/15. And then we would multiply the base and the width and the 4 and 4/15 together, and we would have to get 2. If we did not get 2, we did it incorrectly. So I want you to multiply this out and see if we did it right, and I will